We're going straight into today's topic because this has been pissing me off. Today we're talking about situationships, red flags, and dating in this generation. And I get it. This is a very debatable topic. If you disagree with me, that's completely fine. This is just my opinion and my experience. But first, let's talk about situationships. Because I've noticed a pattern lately that I absolutely hate. And honestly, it's one of the reasons why I'm not even dating. I feel like nobody dates to marry anymore. Maybe it's just me, but growing up, I've always viewed relationships as you date someone to eventually have a future one day. And yes, sometimes intentions are real and things just don't work out. You're young, you're learning, life happens. That's different. But what I'm saying right now, situationships are normalized. If you clicked on this video, you probably already know what a situationship is. But if you don't, it's basically being in a relationship with someone, but not actually committing to them. And listen, if that works for you, cool. But personally, absolutely not. I do not do situationships. And maybe I just have strong opinions because I've been through them before. My first situationship was like 7 years ago. I was 19. This was back before we even called it situationship. I had met this guy and he did everything right from the beginning. Paid for every meal, open doors, planned dates, never let me drive. And I remember being like, okay, so this is it. Well, that lasted 2 months because eventually the effort started changing. This is the term that we call now as love bombing. And at the time, I didn't even realize it, but people put on a performance just long enough until they get access to you. I remember not long after that, I started getting follow requests from random accounts, fake accounts, real accounts, spam accounts. And then eventually I kind of just connected all the dots and realized that this was a person that he was also talking to. And this girl absolutely hated me. Like, girl, I was a victim too. But of course, when I confronted him about it, he made her sound crazy. Little did I know that he was doing the same thing with me. Eventually, me and the girl realized that he was definitely the problem. And that was the first time that I realized that people don't want you, they want the benefit of you. And no, this is not just a men are trash kind of conversation. Girls do it too, been through it with both, and I've seen some of my friends do it right in front of me. I've cut off many friends in this past year, probably because I got cheated on in my last relationship as well. I just don't support it. I don't agree with it. But things like that, it is not gender, it's character. And back to cutting off those friends, I think one of the biggest reasons why people never see anything wrong with their actions is because they surround themselves with people who think it's okay to do it. If all of your friends cheat, now cheating doesn't sound too bad. If your friends entertain people while being in a relationship, now all of a sudden that's normalized. If your friends avoid accountability, now all of a sudden everybody thinks that they're the victim. And that's why I always say, pay attention to who people surround themselves with. Because eventually you realize that people don't just influence habits, they influence standards. And I'm speaking on this through a personal experience because there was a time where I got caught up with the wrong group of people. If everybody around you is making bad decisions, eventually bad decisions start to seem reasonable. Then comes my second situationship, which actually turned into an actual relationship, which then turned into the biggest heartbreak of my life. So safe to say, I'm not going for a third. This is not a three strikes and you're out moment. I'm just simply not doing it again. But the way how normal this all became, people who genuinely want love get pulled into these situations where they only want convenience. They want someone to text, to sleep around with, to keep around, but not fully choose. And I feel like after enough heartbreaks, people will eventually start believing that love isn't real, or they just become the exact person that hurt them. And don't get me started with attachment styles. Like, why is it that anxiously attached people always get caught up with avoidance? Like, why are we doing this to ourselves? I just found out last year that I was actually anxiously attached. I've gotten better. It took a while, but a lot of things that you learn growing up end up showing up in your relationships too. And I think what sucks is that after I got into with someone that's avoidant, I noticed that I started building avoidant traits too. And that's pretty scary because unhealthy relationships literally rewire the way that you love. And I think another issue nowadays is that people are terrified of being alone. They see everyone in relationships, or maybe they're just a single one out of their friend group. They see Instagram posts of these couples being cute, and they just want someone there, not necessarily the right person, just someone to fill up the space. People want the warmth of a relationship without the responsibility of commitment. They want someone to keep around while they search for someone better. And some of those just drag on for way too long that eventually somebody gets attached and feelings get involved. And once feelings get involved, it is so much harder to detach. And while we're on that topic, let's talk about situations that are just going on for too long. Because personally, I think 3 months is the cutoff. 3 months is more than enough time to know if you want to pursue someone. After 3 months, there needs to be a conversation. Because what you're not going to do is have me exclusive to you while you're still looking at other people. Like, absolutely not. Like, what are we doing? Are we dating? Are we still single? Are we seeing other people? Is this a free trial? If after 3 months somebody tells you that they just want to see where things go, babe, that is your answer. If I can't tell where we stand after 90 days, I already know where we stand. Nowhere. Everything is based out of convenience, out of looks, attention, validation. Nobody actually slows down and get to know a person. Like there's barely any emotional connection before anything physical. And that just like sucks because it takes away the whole special moment from it. And social media just makes it so much worse because no one ever really leaves anyone alone anymore. People break up and the first thing they do is immediately spin the block to old situationships, old flings, exes, and old conversations that they ignored in the past. And I'm sorry, but that is crazy to me. Like, the relationship didn't work out. So now you're reopening old access points because you can't sit alone with yourself. And I think what's crazier is when the people entertaining it knows exactly what went on in their last relationship. And now you think you're just going to get this whole different version of them. Shit. Good luck, Charlie. Like, that just makes dating so disposable because everybody is just one DM away. People don't heal, they just rotate. Literally, my whole perspective on cheating changed after what I went through. Because people are always scared of getting cheated on. They're scared that somebody's gonna come and steal their partner. Somebody's gonna come in and ruin the whole entire relationship. But honestly, if someone truly wants to be with you, nobody can convince them otherwise. And if someone is that easy for others to entertain, that easy to emotionally detach, that easy to disrespect a relationship, then you just saved yourself. Because loyal people don't just suddenly forget that they love you because somebody else gave them attention. Like, that's not temptation. That's, again, character. And I think a lot of people blame opportunities instead of just admitting that person lacked boundaries and respect to begin with. Because when I genuinely like somebody, I don't even look around. I don't go and search for better people. I'm not entertaining anyone. I'm not keeping my options open. If I like you, I like you. So now when anybody cheats, I'm not blaming social media, blaming attention, blaming another person, because at the end of the day, they made a choice. Because if someone could throw away a relationship that easily, then they were just never serious about it in the first place. Everybody feels like they have unlimited options. They're like constantly scanning for better people. And I get it, there's plenty of fish in the sea. But that illusion ruins relationships. I genuinely think that social media literally ruined people's ability to see what a normal relationship is supposed to be like. They think relationships are supposed to be easy, but the second the honeymoon phase ends, it's like they don't want to deal with any of the issues. And it could be the easiest situations, but people don't want to put in the effort. They just think maybe I could find somebody better. Maybe I won't have to deal with this with a new person. And that cycle just keeps going and going. And don't even get me started with dating apps. I'm sorry. I know some people actually find real love on there. I know many stories where people get married, but I feel like the whole point of a dating app is not what it's supposed to be anymore. Like now it's just filled with people who want friends with benefits. People just looking to hook up. And I see that a lot happening at the clubs or on DMs too. Like, I don't even know where you could genuinely find someone who is actually serious and looking for something in the future because DMs are so easy nowadays. You could just slide into anybody's DMs and it's like, how many people did you slide into? Like, am I number one or am I number 54? And another thing that I noticed are people dating when they are nowhere near healed. Like, you just got out of a relationship. You talk about your ex constantly. You haven't processed anything, and now you want to drag somebody else into your trauma. And yes, I've been guilty of this. There was a time in my life where I would hop from relationship to relationship until I got absolutely heartbroken. But honestly, that heartbreak finally taught me how to sit with myself. And it was lonely. It was really lonely. But I think learning how to sit with yourself is something that not a lot of people know how to do. But it's one of the strongest things that you can do. And that's one of the reasons why I'm not dating right now because the last thing I want to do is hurt somebody while I'm still healing. Like, that's not fair to them. So, let's get into red flags because I definitely ignored a lot of red flags because they were definitely waving pink to me and I just like painted them red. Effort mismatch. This one is huge. If you feel like you're giving too much effort and you're not getting the same back, they're just not investing. If someone can communicate perfectly with their friends, coworkers, family, but all of a sudden they can't communicate with you, that's not a communication issue. You're just not a priority. People put in the effort for whoever they want. Love bombing. I'm glad I only went through this twice in my life. When everything is perfect in the beginning, they're constantly giving you attention, they're obsessed with you, and then all of a sudden it disappears. That switch up, pay attention to it. Dismissiveness, lack of accountability. Whenever you get into an argument and they make it about you versus them instead of us versus the problem, pay attention to how they talk to you when they're angry. Pay attention to what they do after you guys get into a fight. Pay attention to how they talk about their exes. If all of a sudden it's always the ex's fault and they did absolutely nothing wrong, yeah, the exes were not the issue. Pay attention to patterns because patterns is gonna tell you before words do. I've always been a lover girl at heart. I will ride for my person. If you need someone to cry to, I'm right there. I'm picking up pizza on my way home. Do you want a slice? I'll leave it in the fridge for you when you get back. Consideration with every action that I take. That's just the way I love. And honestly, I don't regret loving deeply because I feel like everybody deserves love. Everybody deserves patience and room to grow. Nobody is perfect, but there is a difference between growing pains and straight up character flaws. And eventually you realize that you can't love somebody into becoming what they should have been for you. And I think one of the saddest part about it is real commitment almost feels like it's embarrassing now. People are terrified of being vulnerable. They're terrified of committing or simply just too damaged to just trust it anymore. Honestly, I'm glad that I'm taking my time to really just be alone, to just focus on myself because after my breakup, there's been many times where I felt like I was behind because my ex moved on fast and I felt like I should too. But like when you sit with yourself, you realize that deep down you're just not healed yet and you're not ready. And the last thing I want to do is make the same exact mistake that I did in the last relationship. And I'd rather be alone and continue to heal than to accidentally hurt someone else. Because healing takes time. Healing isn't just, I found somebody else and now I'm good. That's just distraction. And maybe this generation would have healthier relationships if people just stop rushing to be in one, to stop replacing people so fast and actually sit with themselves. I've been told this many times, and I'm gonna say it too. The only way through a heartbreak is through. You can't avoid it. You can't distract yourself. You can't replace it with someone new. Because eventually, you're going to have to sit through those uncomfortable moments, to feel it, to cry through it, and just understand what truly happened. That's the only way that you could grow, and the only way you could actually reflect on your mistakes. That way, you could fix them. Because hurt people really do hurt people. And eventually, all these toxic dating culture turn good people toxic too. And that's the saddest part of it all. I think the biggest thing I learned about dating is to not be scared of losing people. Because I used to think that losing people was the worst thing that could happen. Now I think staying with the wrong person is. Because some people don't just waste your time. They drain your confidence, your peace, your self-worth, your energy, and now you gotta spend months to rebuild yourself. So if somebody wants to leave, then leave. Because the right person does not need to be convinced to stay. Alright, I think that's enough ranting for today. I just needed to get that out because it's crazy out here. Thank you guys for listening. I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. If you did, make sure to leave a like, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and I'll see you guys all next week. Bye, guys.